James Davis here on American soil in San Jose at the Summer Nationals. James, you've been training here in the United States for a little over 2 years. Tell us what motivated that decision to come here.
Well, I was training in the UK and I was doing pretty well. We've gone to the Olympics. I was 23rd and I got myself up to the top 16 in the world. I won the first Grand Prix of my career, and it's the first time in 4 years that the British had won. But for me, I felt at the end of the season, it was very good, but I wanted more. You know, I'm hungry to win and to keep pushing myself. I knew I needed top-level sparring, and I decided that America was the place to come. And we spoke with Massialas, the head coach of the US team, and it seemed like a good fit. So I spent the first 2 months here, my sort of trial period, and I loved it. I fell in love with San Francisco. People were friendly, and training was fantastic. You know, at the time, I think it was Garrett Meinhardt was world #1. Xander Massialas was also top 16. So we had a solid cohort of fencers. I knew some of the other guys I'd grown up with on the circuit, so I couldn't find a better club, really.
And you talked about your trajectory. You know, you were in the top 16, just had a huge win. What made you feel like you weren't going to continue getting the training you needed in the UK?
Well, I felt I could maintain it. If I stayed in the UK, I'd be able to stay at that level. But you know, I wanted to be world #1. I wanted to go be world champion, Olympic champion, you know, European champion, and those are things you have to keep pushing yourself. You have to make changes. You know, fencing's always progressing, and if you stay still, you get left behind. You know, just like any sport. And I wanted something new. You know, I'd watched the guys. I'd watched Greg give them the lessons to Alexander and David and Garrick and stuff on the circuit, and it was something very, very different to what I was used to. It's very sort of unorthodox, not very typical European of what I'd grown up with, and decided, you know, I want to try it, see if it works, and it does. I've fallen in love with the system. It's brilliant, and it's paying off.
And you mentioned some of your goals, among them European champion. You accomplished that last year,
yeah,
with kind of mixing it up, and you also mentioned some of the options. Why the US versus Italy, for example?
One of the big things, of course, I don't speak the language. I'd say I don't speak American either, but we're getting by. You know, it was my coach at the time, Zhemak, had good links with Greg, so they knew each other well. So it was also partly where I think he felt comfortable with what would be best for me in terms of where we're going to go. Italian system is very, very different as well. And I think for me, it was more my own interest within fencing of I could see a different style out there. You know, I was used to a very French style, very Italian style. I've seen the Russian. American is something different, and particularly the Massialas foundation system is very, very different to, say, some of the East Coast fencers. And I wanted to see what it was, why it's working, and for me, I gave it a try. And now I understand it and understand how it's working and can see the benefits. And
you talk about the comparisons between the systems. What has been the biggest shock between the systems you knew before coming here in the Massialas system?
I think what the coaches would tell me right now is I'm probably still too automatic. I've come from a system which it has its benefits, but it's more on patterning and repetition, whereas the guys are, as one of the coaches would put, look, see, feel is how it works, and that is really the system. You know, it's about sort of you express yourself well, but it's sort of seeing what's going to happen and reacting to it and setting up the situation, and I like it. You know, it's very fluid. If you watch Garrick's, the movement is incredible. There's not many guys out there moving like him, the hand, the flexibility that they've got. So it suits me well. You know, it's been hard. The first few months was a nightmare for me. Thinking, what am I doing? Like, I can't do this stuff. It's crazy. It's completely different to what I'm used to. But it takes time. I had to work it. The thing is, I wanted to do it. You know, I wanted the change, and if you want it, then you can succeed, and I've put the effort in, and it's paid off.
It's obviously showing. And as far as some of the differences in training outside of the fencing specific component, for example, scheduling, resources, the training centers, what were some of the biggest surprises you encountered?
Well, to be honest, I mean, in the UK, we're a fully funded program. UK Sports still fund me out here, so they've been very supportive in helping me continue my program here. I think I was a little bit taken back just how they're professional and amateur in the same way, if you understand what I mean. It's the setup as you see out there is so professional in America. They've got so many kids, they've got all the coaches, but yet it's still club-based, and that's probably partly because it's such a huge country. It's very hard to get them together. Like I was saying to you before, I've trained with Race in Bowden and Miles Chamberlain Watson once a year when we come to these camps. We have great training camp together, but we only ever meet up once a year, and we see each other at tournaments and stuff, compete against each other. But I train with the other guys all the time because that's where I'm at. You know, in the UK, we're a national team. We train together, and I think you'll find that with the French do the same. The Italians come together once a month. So a lot of the Europeans have national setups. The Russians are a huge cohort of fencers that come together from their clubs and train as a national squad. Here it's not so like that, and yet they're still getting the results, still working very hard. I mean, now I'm part of the Massialas Foundation. We have 3 in the top 16, so it's going pretty well, and yet it's a club-based system.
Yeah, absolutely. It speaks to maybe kind of that American mentality where everyone kind of takes it on themselves.
Yeah.